is the night of Ashura of Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam. May Allah give us the tawfiq and the chance to be visitor of Sayyid al-Shahada alayhi salam in such a night, and to understand the greatness and the importance of night of Ashura. We pay our condolences to the Imam of our time and this time of musibah and azza. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase the love of Sayyid al-Shahada alayhi salam in the hearts of all humanity, especially in our minds and in our actions. We live and stand by the message of Sayyid al-Shahada alayhi salam with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أناديه ويستر علي كل عورة وأنا أعصيه ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازيه نحمده ونسبحه ونقدسه على آلائه ونعمائه ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إلها واحدا أحدا فردا صمدا قيوما نؤمن له بربوبيته ونقر له بالعبودية من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا محمدا عبده ورسوله وآل محمد أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وترحم على محمد وآل محمد كأفضل ما صليت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد وصل على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين والشهداء والصديقين وأهل بيت نبيك الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. The night of Ashura is a time that always is the most difficult moment for those who truly love Sayyid al-Shahada alayhi salam. And also is very difficult to compare ourselves with the companions of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Because in such a night, they ask for extension, they ask for a few more hours to spend that maybe a few more hours of their life in connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If they ask us, if you know tomorrow is the last day of your life, and I thought about it and probably you thought of that as well, what would you do? What will be your final wish? If you could do anything, what would you pick? And we see between all those, Sayyid al-Shahada and his companions chose reliving few moments with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in supplication, in repentance, in recitation of the word of Allah. And that was the cause of peace for them. And this is the sign of awliya Allah. That when they remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, أنزل السكينة على قلوب المؤمنين. Tranquility will bestow upon the hearts of the true believers. And regardless of what difficulty they face, because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of every blessing and every tranquility and every moment of sakina come from Allah. And those who connect with Allah have the highest level of tranquility. In such a night, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to taste a bit of that tranquility, a dharra, a particle of that tranquility. And if we truly taste that, we would never let ourselves. Assalamu alaikum. We will never give up on that experience. We have a young man fell in love with a daughter of a king. He was a man from a family of a shepherd. His dad was a shepherd. And of course, he has no chance in that. So we have that. He talked to someone, to an alim. An alim told him, go ahead, ask. What's the worst that could happen? They will tell you no. But you at least you will settle this with yourself that I tried. And we have that this man actually went forward. And we have that the advisor of the king was a man of wisdom and knowledge. He told them that before you go to the king, I'm going to tell you something. That this king loves people who are pious. So he didn't want to let this young man go to the king and be shut down by the king. And basically he doesn't want him to be humiliated before the king. So he said, okay, the king loves pious people. I will tell you, go and for a month find a cave or somewhere and worship Allah there. And then after that, we will let the king know that there is a pious man that worships God over there, and he has a high respect for the people who are pious and they are detached from dunya. In another word, they're not looking for his wealth or his family's wealth. He has a respect for the people who are zahid. So if you do that, you have a chance. The young man said, okay, for my life I will do anything. So he went and find isolated area, a cave, and start worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And after a month, advisor actually saw that this man actually is so consistent with his plan that he's truly, it was not just a fling, it was not just a momentarily feeling. This person actually invested in this. So he talked to the king and said, oh, you know, there's this young man who's been in this cave and is a man of worship. Now we have that the king comes with all the people, you know, all the advisors and the soldiers, and they make sure that he has a meeting with this man. And when he comes, he is in the middle of prayers. So he waits for the young man to finish his prayers. The moment he finishes his prayers, the king wants to say something, the young man starts the second prayer. Wait for that to be over, and then again he starts the third one. It's like that the king is not even there. He's just starting a new prayer after new one. And the king eventually leaves. And the advisor of the king comes later on and find him in a moment and said, what's wrong with you? This was the moment. That was the moment you were looking for. You did all this for the moment that the king actually come to you. And he was willing to even accept, he's such a young man, such a pious man, he was willing to consider you to be his future son-in-law. Why you didn't talk to him? And he said that the reason I came here was not for Allah. And my prayers were not genuine prayers. It was just a scam. And this scam of a prayer brought the king to me. And imagine what's the power of a real prayer. That's the reason I thought that I don't want this. There's more. That I tasted something that what I was looking for was a childish game. Imagine what a real prayer and real iman will taste, and what is the power of real iman. Ask Allah in the night of Ashura to help us to taste a bit of what awliya Allah truly enjoy in their experience with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That if we experience, then nothing will distract us. There is no reason to push us toward Allah anymore. We will be running after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You heard about Layli and Majnun story, right? And we have that they brought the Majnun in the middle of the town, and the judge made a ruling that he has to be whipped. And when they brought him, people told him, if you scream, if you show some form of pain and agony and suffering, they will make the whipping easier on you. And when the whipping is started, we have that he did not make a noise. He didn't say anything, he didn't make a cry, weeping, nothing. And if you have the person, the soldier or the mercenary, the one who was responsible to whip, he made it harder, said maybe I'm not striking hard enough. So after the punishment was over and completed, you have the people came to Majnun and told him, why you didn't scream? We told you have to scream, you have to say something, you have to cry. And he said, because when this was happening, I was planning to do that. Then I saw that Layli was among the crowd. She was standing and watching me, and was embarrassed to scream in front of someone that I love, and also was so drowned in that moment that she is there that I didn't even pay attention. And they say even the story of Layli Majnun was created as a symbolism. It was not real Layli Majnun in that level. Is that sometimes when somebody truly loves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to a level that no difficulty will distract them. Al-bala'u lil-wila. All the tragedies come in the path of people who are closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they're so involved and they're so in love that nothing can push them away or distract them from that. And this is just a story until we experience the taste of it. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us that. Maybe if you're not worthy to experience the whole thing, at least a glimpse, a sample. And we understand what is the meaning of Iman. So we said, Ibadun Mukramun, the honored and the respected servants of Allah, that they will enter heaven with grace. The day of judgment will be a moment of fear for some and a moment of grace for some. Ultimately, it's about how we live. Our actions determine our future. You know, in so many inspirational, motivational speeches, people talk about that you should want something very bad in order to achieve it. But from the perspective of capitalist mentality, materialistic mentality is always about dunya. Do you want to drive a Ferrari? Do you want to have a Bugatti? Do you want to have this and that? You should want it really bad. You have to work hard. You have to wake up 4 a.m., 2 a.m. You have to work hard, plan, strive, and then you will get it. In that speech, what is missing from what we say is akhirah. That there is more to life than just this dunya. That you have to do that. You have to wake up early. You have to work hard. You have to struggle. But just remember that is not all for here, because at the end, all this hard work, if it's for 40, 50 years of life, is too short. You can exercise all you want. You can eat healthy as you want, which is fine and is highly recommended to do so. But ultimately, you're going to add how much? 50 years, 60 years, 80 years to your lifespan. It's not more than that. So imagine when you work hard, work for something much more eternal than just the life that you have in this dunya. If you have akhirah, then your frustration will be less. Your suffering will be less. Because sometimes you work for the sake of dunya, but you don't get what you want. There are people who are cheaters, and there are thieves, and there are people who literally stab you in the back. If you don't believe in akhirah, you say it was a bad luck, I dealt with the wrong crowd. But if you believe in akhirah, you understand that the thief may get away in this dunya, but there is more to life than just this life. Just understanding and believing in that will give you a sense of peace, because ultimately we all look for justice. We want justice. Especially if we are the one that being oppressed, we want justice. And Allah said, remember, in the Day of Judgment, somebody mentioned a good point. He said, Sheikh, you're talking about Day of Judgment, and sometimes I feel it's too difficult. It is too hard to get there. It's like that is impossible to get there. We cannot be this good. And there should be some hope. And I said, I hope nobody from the last 8 nights of my lectures, nobody come to understanding that I'm trying to take away hope in Allah's mercy. God forbid. If that was understanding, I'm going to clarify that all the lectures that we are having here is to have a realistic understanding of Day of Judgment, which, as I said, is a dichotomy, is the balanced system, is rahmah, is Allah's mercy, and at the same time Allah's justice as well. We cannot ignore one part. I can't just talk about Allah's justice and forget about His mercy. The mercy is there, Allah promised it. And we don't have a permission to take away the hope of someone's change. That's the reason I talk about Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi, to understand that concept. It was one of the first night I mentioned. We're here, inshallah, to be inspired by the message of Sayyid al-Shuhada, to be better. To don't justify being lazy in order to say, you know, what I am right now is good enough. That's not acceptable. Somebody cannot say, I am good enough. Amir Ali alayhi salam said that when you do good all the time, remember, forget the good that you do. Never keep a list of something good that you do. Never have a list of amal salih. Oh, I gave the money over there, I prayed Salatul Layl. Don't keep a list of that. Forget about it. But when it comes to your sins, remember it all the time, even the smallest sin you commit. Why? Because if you think of the good deeds you do, you eventually come to understanding that I'm good enough. There is no reason for me to be better. And if you forget about your sins, you always consider, I've did good enough. It's not a big deal. Allah will not punish me for this. That's the reason we see them among religious families. It's just one night, Sheikh. It's a wedding. We are a religious family. We serve at the Husayniyah. It's just one night of wedding. If we do something that we know is haram, it's not a big deal. It's just a wedding. It's just anniversary. It's just a birthday. It's just a this. We give ourselves a free pass, an easy pass that, okay, this is okay for me because I did so many good. And that happens when we forget that we did so many goods, but at the same time, how many bad also we committed as well. So have hope in Allah's mercy. Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam, become Ya Rahmatallahil Wasi'ah wa Ya Baba Najatil Ummah. He's the one that is expansive, extended form of Allah's mercy. He is the door He's a savior, like a door of saving for mankind, for the ummah and the nation of the Prophet. So when you come to Majlis, the program of Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam, you're supposed to believe in the rahmah of Allah. That Hussein alayhi salam is leading us toward Allah's mercy. But at the same time, Allah said, وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. Sometimes people think that they can deceive God. They can play games with God. Play with words. Play with words sometimes. And there are a lot of words when it comes to Allah's mercy. I've heard that somebody was saying that, how is that possible for Allah, the one who created us, and He loves us so much, to punish us? How is that possible? The same way a mother will not be that cruel to punish their child, even if they make mistakes. Allah is much more kinder and compassionate toward His creation than mothers. That's fine. But what we forgot about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that the punishment is not from Allah, it's from us. It's our sins that we are being transformed in a form of punishment. It's not that Allah just put punishment aside and He wants to punish you. Imagine I give you an example to understand what I meant. A mother will not punish the child, but if the child is reckless, they're running somewhere that they should be more careful, and they fall and they will receive the injury, right? They will hurt themselves. Is the mother to be blamed or the child? And we're not talking about the one who's not to the age of maturity. That's the reason Allah said, before taklif, before your age of maturity, we will not hold you accountable for that. You don't know better. So no sin will be counted at that time. But after you're mature, after you reach an age that you grew up and you know that I should not smoke, I should not make reckless decision, I should not be very careless about my safety, and you still do, is the mother to be blamed or your own action? That's what the sin and punishment is about. Allah sent 124,000 prophets to warn us. Nadhira, right? They warned us, mankind, don't throw yourself into misguidance, darkness, damage, harm. Even Quran calls the sinner dhulm, right? It said the one who commit a sin, when somebody watch haram, listen to haram, commit haram, that's dhulm ala nafsi. That's oppression against self. That's self-harm. 124,000 Prophet of God, 12 Imam came to warn us about this. Mankind, know your value. You're honored by God. You're a successor of God on earth. You are the one that Allah blew into you from His own soul. Karamna bani Adam. He gave you so much respect and honor. Know your own value. Don't commit sin. So the punishment of Allah is from us. He warned us that if you go to that path, you will end up harming yourself, and punishment is a form of punishment you made for yourself. So just be aware, some people, they try to do makr with God, play with words. You probably heard this metaphor of mother before, right? God is like, God is kinder to us than a mother, as Prophet said. Said, oh, God will not punish us. But I look at it this way. Don't look at it as God in a position of analogy, which is an incomplete analogy anyway, that somebody who make a mistake and the mother will go and slap them. No. Imagine is when you're making a mistake, you're hurting yourself. That's what the punishment of Allah is. When you commit a sin, you hurt yourself at that moment. We believe when you commit a sin, your punishment in the day of judgment is a transformation of that. But when you commit a sin, you harm yourself at that moment. You did harm yourself. And tawbah is a way of healing, is a medicine. Allah said, you harm yourself. You go against my advice, you go against the teachers, you go against the prophets of God, I'm going to give another chance. I'm going to give you multiple chances. As long as you truly intend to heal, I will give you chances. So Allah is merciful. His mercy have no imperfection. Our understanding of Allah has imperfection. So is there any way that we think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God forbid, is cruel? Is not from Allah, it's from our perception of God that may make us think that Allah is cruel. Because He is the symbol of all perfection. وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى. All His attributes leads to beauty, perfection, absolute perfection. Without that, there will not be a God. Anything that we have is the source is God. Assalamu alaikum. Because there's a rule and they teach it in mantiq as well. They said, فَاقِدُ الشَّيْء. If somebody does not possess something, they will not be able to give that. If I have no knowledge, I cannot give knowledge. If I have no wealth, I cannot give health. So if we have kindness, if we have knowledge, if we have wisdom, if we have sympathy, if we have all these qualities which they're good, is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He has the absolute form of it, and we have a weaker degree of it, much weaker degree of it. So now who will be the one with grace? Inshallah, we are one of those, ibadun mukramun, fi jannatin mukramun, that we will visit and meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with honor, with grace, that we will be respected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and by the Day of Judgment itself. Number one, salat. Number two, infaq, charity for those who ask and for those who are deprived. They don't ask, but we have to recognize who's the poor. And in other words, don't wait for people to make announcement, I need help. Recognize people's issues. And in order to do that, you have to talk to people. We cannot be secluded, isolated in our own corner, in our own backyard and say, okay, I want to know about the ummah. We don't know about our own community in LA, in Orange County, in Irvine, how we're going to think about the ummah of the Prophet. If all I'm concerned with is my own house, how it looks, let's make some remodeling, let's care about this, which are all fine. But if all I care is that, what do we learn from Sayyidina Shuhada alayhi salam? Did he stay in his house in Medina and go to Rasulullah's ziyarah every day and come back? Or no, he said, I've seen that there is a broken system, there is deviance, there is unfortunately misguidance among the ummah of the Prophet. I decided I have to do something about it. Islah, reform. So in order to do reform, you have to know the problem, right? We have to talk to people. That's the reason when you look at Ahlul Bayt were in the market. We see Imam Ali alayhi salam, in the time of his Khilafah, even before that, Imam walks in the market. Talk to people, talk to sellers, businessmen, whoever is in the market, to know the issue. To know the problem. Same about Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam, that Imam is walking in the market. Talk to people, real people. And sometimes we have to do the same thing. Sometimes, as I said, we fail to do that with our own family member. We don't talk to our own family members because we're so busy to make more dunya. I say, Sheikh, you have too much time. You have a lot of free time. I'm a busy person. I'm working out of 24 hours, I'm working 25 hours. And do you want me to talk to my children or family? I know what they're going to say. So infaq and salat. And we elaborate enough on these two. And if you look at Quran, beginning of Quran, Surah Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala start with this, right? Alif Lam Mim, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. What is that? وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Indeed, this book, Quran, there is no doubt in it. And this book is the guidance for the pious. Who are the pious? Those who believe in the unseen. Their understanding of the world is not just what they can touch and feel at their senses. They believe in unseen more than their senses. Ghaib. And they establish prayers and they give charity. They donate. They give away from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sustained them with. From sustenance of Allah, they give infaq. And it's important, the way Allah worded is very beautiful. So, وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ. Razaqna means we are the one who give the rizq. From what we gave them, they're giving away. So that ownership sometimes come to mind. Is my money, is my house, is my property. And Allah is warning us, understand, you're not the owner. You're just someone with amanat from Allah. Somebody, Allah trusted you with this. So from what we gave you, you have to give away. You have to do infaq. So there are the two we mentioned. I will talk about the rizq at the end of my lecture tonight. I will finish with that. But let's inshallah finish the list as much as we can tonight. Who are the ibadun mukramun? The one who visit and meet Allah with grace, prayers. Number one, the one who prays. Number two, the one who do charity. Number three, nusaddiq biyawm ad-din. Those who affirm their belief in Day of Judgment. About that topic, we've been discussing the whole Muharram on this topic. Affirming their belief in Day of Judgment. That in their life, you can see that they are concerned with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His judgment and Day of Judgment. Because sometimes some of us, we say there is a God, but we think everything is here. I've heard even recently people say there is no hell and heaven, everything is here. Hell is here, heaven is here. And I say, I hope that's not true. I hope that you don't believe in it. Because if that's true, a lot of criminals, they made heavens for themselves. And a lot of awliya Allah, prophets of God, people made hell, this dunya for them. Nuh alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, our prophet, Imam Ali alayhi salam. Which one of them had an easy time in this dunya that you say heaven and hell is here? Which one of them? That people came and they embraced their message and said, you know, we were waiting for you. You're too late. We were just waiting for you to come, and we take the message and put it in our eyes. Look at Nuh alayhi salam. People rejected his message. 950 years rejected his message. Ibrahim alayhi salam, they throw him literally to the fire to burn him alive. Our prophet, 23 years of hard work, the moment he passed away, still his coffin, still his burial is fresh. They went against his family, his household. The first man who believed in Rasulullah, the one who slept in the bed of the Prophet, the one who is the victorious in the battle of Khaybar and in so many other battles, the warrior, the brave man that Allah gave him the titles of Asadullah. He is the one that so-called Muslim come against him in 3 battles. Where is that heaven in dunya for Ali ibn Abi Talib? That he has to deal with Khawarij, with Jamal, with Sifin, each different form of perverted understanding of Islam. One is the kingdom mentality, Muawiyah. One is the backward mentality, Khawarij. And then we have the spoiled, close ones that they consider that they can do whatever they want with the message of Islam because they're close family members, which is Jamal. Each form of it is an issue. And when it comes to Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam, show me where is the justice in the sacrifice of Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam. As he himself said, what I have done to you that you think it's okay to kill me. So this dunya is not heaven and hell. If somebody says this, and they heard it somewhere in a social media, they know nothing about history. They know nothing about history. History of the Prophet or even contemporary history. American history. Tell me where is the justice and heaven and hell when the indigenous people in America were massacred? They came and said, okay, we like this, we're going to take over this land, and we're going to kill you. Similar thing happened to many other places. If you know about history, you understand there's more than hell and heaven in this dunya. It's not. There's a lot of injustice. If it was already just, Allah wouldn't command us and order us that you have to establish justice. And even when the Imam of our time comes, ultimately the purpose of that, وَنُرِيدُ أَن نَمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. It's supposed to be that the fairness is that mustad'afin, those who are being undermined, those who are being oppressed all the time, those that their right was taken away from them, they have to get the rightly position. They will be the inheritors of the earth. So we have to affirm our belief in the day of judgment in our action. Number 4, so that's the third one, affirmation of the belief in the day of judgment. Not just to say it, to remember it, to believe it, to let it affect our decisions. That maybe in dunya I can't get away with this. I go to the court, I go against my husband, I go against my wife, and in this court I can win. But can I win the court of God as well? That's the day of judgment. Because if you say all is about this court, and I can fabricate, I can take witnesses, I can do something, but I know what I'm doing is wrong. I know against the command of Allah is wrong. Yes, according to this rule, yes, there's so many things. There's so many loopholes in this system that you can take advantage of. But the one who believes in the day of judgment will not take advantage of any of those loopholes. Because you believe ultimately there's an ultimate world for you waiting. There's a Yawm ad-Din waiting for you. And when I see that's not happening, when I see, unfortunately, a wife take over a property that is not theirs, or a husband own a property that is not theirs from their spouse, and they pray in that house, and they say, I got it legally. Say, good for you. I hope you will be able to present your case in the day of judgment the same way. When you mistreated your wife and said, it says America. I'm not paying for nafaqah, I'm not paying the expenses. I can do whatever. I can just give up is my life. Allah said, وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. How you treat your family is important. After years of marriage and you walk away from a marriage. Yes, legally you can, right? Nobody going to stop you. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, عَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Even if you have to, let's say for some reason, I talked about this before, you have to separate from somebody, make sure you do it with grace, with respect, with helping them. I know both cases. A husband who helped his wife to get education, to get a work, and the moment that wife got whatever she wanted, she said, okay, now I can't stand on my own feet, I don't need you anymore. Literally this. I don't love you anymore. That's what the exact statement is. It's not that the husband did something wrong, abused, nothing. I don't love you anymore. We want different things. Walked away. She literally got the support of the husband to achieve her success. And vice versa, the husband, that the wife literally stayed home, raised the kid, did all the sacrifice, and the moment comes, they say, oh, I want to move on. We don't have mutual understanding. And I talk about ulama who literally stay in a marriage that they are the one paying the price in order to gain something from that. The fourth one, Allah says in Surah Al-Ma'arij, if you want to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with grace, Allah said, those who guard their private parts. That's sort of referring to the concept of people who have no boundaries when it comes to relationships with the opposite gender. Unfortunately, in our time, we have to say same gender. It's a tragedy of our time. Those who are hafidhu, they're protecting, they're guarding furujihim. Illa ma malakat, illa ala azwajihim, except for their family members. In other words, those who look for relationship from a halal channel. That's the way it is. Those who have no limitation and no boundaries in the way of relationships, they are the way that will not return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with grace. Literally, sometimes somebody came to me and criticized, Sheikh, you did a nikah of somebody. We did, we call it muwaqqad nikah, of somebody. And I said, Sheikh, why you did the nikah? I said, because the other person wasn't a Muslim. The wife wasn't Muslim. So why you did it? You should have encouraged. Said, it's too late. The reason they called me is because they will do it anyway. They will go through and proceed with that relationship anyway. Somebody, may Allah bless them, said, okay, let's at least make it halal. That's too late for me to go and warn them or advise them that this is not the right start with, or there's going to be a lot of risks if you have a family to do different religion. It's literally a patch, a band-aid on the problem. And I said last night, sometimes people are more concerned with their girls than their boys. When Allah said you have to watch over your relationship, it's not just for the girls, it's for boys and girls. It's for men and women. A haram relationship is a haram relationship for your son or for your daughter. Nowhere in Quran Allah said the shame of your daughter being involved in a haram relationship is greater than your boy having a haram relationship. It's the same if you are responsible. If you could have done something and you didn't. Let me finish with one more thing and I move on. It's the night of Ashura. I know a lot of people say we have to talk about Sayyidina Shuhada alayhi salam, but to have a community who strive to be follower of Sayyidina Shuhada, we have to resolve some of the issues we're suffering from. One of them is, unfortunately, is some form of lack of chastity. Is promotion of being someone without modesty in the name of so many fake slogans. Is a different world, is a different community, is a different country. Just promote immodesty. And sometimes we could do something about it. If you're married, watching a haram scene is a haram scene. Because you're married does not make it acceptable. Oh, I'm married. There's no chance for me to fall into sin. It's okay for me to watch this. Oh, I'm married. It's okay if I don't lower my gaze when I interact with non-mahram. No, it does. They didn't say in the ayah, say to the believer men who are single to lower your gaze. No. It said men, lower your gaze. To some people it seems backward. But when you see the issues we have in our communities, that sometimes literally this being lustful, I watch everything I want, I look at everything I want, I break all the boundaries, and it eventually impacts your love and affection to your own family. You have so many traditions. By Ahlul Bayt, by the companions of Ahlul Bayt, that when you look at your wife, imagine and say to your wife and believe in it that your wife is the most beautiful wife in the world. In your mind, you should not consider anyone more beautiful than your wife. That should be the way, Islamically. Same thing about your husband. But when we watch so many other, I'm going to like this, I'm going to, poke this or that. It's nothing, it's just flirting. There's nothing serious. Yes, I agree, not every one of these activities leads to adultery, but it will reduce affection and compassion. It will definitely do. You will not look at your wife the same way. You don't know about it because you're going to unfortunately lose it. That's the reason when it comes in the moment of engagement period, the moment that people start their relationship, is to start tuning it down, right? It's not the same level, which is normal. But sometimes, unfortunately, that relationship dies. And who are responsible? We are the ones responsible. We compare our spouse. In our mind, I've heard in-laws who say, after years of marriage, now their daughter or son has two children. We've made a bad decision. They're not getting a divorce, just saying it. What's the purpose of that? As an in-law, you have to literally say, you're the best son-in-law we could have had. You're the best daughter-in-law we could have had. Why you pushed it toward the opposite direction? And sometimes everything is going well. just for the concept of comparison, or sometimes literally people say, we say it that people know their position. What do you mean by that? No, we say that don't really think big of themselves. We don't want them to become arrogant. We want to break their arrogance. Maybe if they say they're too good, and I've heard people say, don't compliment your husband. It's going to get to their head, and eventually they think they're too good, and they're going to leave you. Don't compliment your in-laws, your son-in-law, your daughter-in-law, because they're going to get into their head. What? What logic is being used here? If you're realistically, you're not exaggerating, complimenting someone when they deserve, you must. If you want to visit Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to guard our private part. It means we have to take care of the halal relationship. Illa ala azwajihim. So if you want the haram to be avoided, we have to work on the halal. Maintain the halal. Because if there is no halal, eventually it will lead to haram. It will lead to haram. If somebody's they're in love with their wife, with their husband, with their family, they will have a much easy way to defeat the temptation of even considering leaving their family or separation, or God forbid, even adultery. But if somebody, God forbid, they have that weakness, there's no compassion, it's just a habit. It's just a partnership. You're there, I'm here, you go to work, I go to work. You're like two people, we're roommate. That relationship have higher chance of that temptation to impact us, to affect us. And that's the reason Prophet said, say to your spouse you love them. Say to them you love them. It will not leave their heart. Imam Hussein used to say that, show that compassion to his wife Rubab. We talk about musibah, but there are a lot of affectionate statements by Sayyid al-Shahada to his wife Rubab. I remember that hadith. Rasulullah said, is narrated said to Abu Dhar, that when you look at your spouse, consider them the most beautiful. The only person for you. This is it. That's 4, right? To meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to return to Allah with grace, we need to maintain the halal relationship to stay away from haram. Haram is haram. Sometimes a father's mistake could lead our children to the stray, to the misguidance. Fathers and mothers are the greatest example for their children to be a good husband or a bad husband, a good wife or a bad wife. Because that you're the best teacher. My lecture means nothing. What it matters, it means nothing if what you do is opposite of what I say or what Allah says. Because they can, at the end, they look at their dad. Dad, you've been a Shia for 50 years, 40 years, 60 years. I see how you treat my mom. Or mom, you go to majalis, you go to musibah, you go to dua kumal, you go to dua tawassul, you have this group. And I see how you treat my husband, my dad. That's all that matters. Number 5, Quran says, Surah Al-Ma'arij, those who return people's trust fully. When it comes to amana, those who break amana means they betray people's trust. They are the one that will not return to Allah safely. Again, this is all, I made it to be about family. You can look at it from so many different perspectives, but I made it to be about family because to know that family is the most important union that you could have in your lifetime. And in America right now, that union is being threatened by so many different enemies out there. From the media, all the way to the lifestyle in the West, all of them are against this. Your cell phones are against this. They want you and them to spend all the time. The TV shows and the movie industry wants the same thing. The reality we live in that there's so many threats, so many enemies for family. There are not that many who wants to defend it anyway, because when you want to follow desires, family is a limitation. Speaking of last night's lecture, that ultimately taqwa is about limitation. Even Quran said, staying away from haram relationship, guarding your private parts, illa ala azwajim, except when it comes to your family, when it comes to your spouse. That's limitation. And in this mentality of the West is not good. You know, in New York, they wanted to pass this law. I think they tried, and even they passed it for a short amount of time. And they said jumbo drink, which was literally a lot of soda. They said, okay, we're going to legally pass a law that they can't sell it that size, that jumbo one. Why? Because of obesity, because of the harmful effect of sodas and all these sugar drinks. There were protests that we want our jumbo drink. Why? Because we want it to be free to choose that we don't want to get it. But you cannot pass a law that don't sell it. You know, there were protests. You can read about it. This is a limitation of our freedom. This mentality, people even come to marriage, unfortunately. We want to be free. I've heard people in a lot of counseling said, my husband, my wife has tried to change me. And even they use this comparison. When you love a bird, you don't hold them in your hand, you let them fly. So what? I'm pretty sure they read it somewhere. It's a meme or something. That's the motto of marriage. If you love something, or a butterfly or a bird, you don't crush them, you let them fly. And what they mean is that I want to be free. What do you mean that I have to spend them? What do you mean I can't spend time with my friends? This mentality is that, again, limitless. Limitation is not good. We want freedom. And that freedom sometimes means to be lustful, to do what you want regardless what is the price that others are paying for your decision. So amana, Allah said the fifth one in Quran, Surah Ma'arij. The fifth way, the fifth condition to return to Allah with honor is to return people's trust. And one of those trusts is your spouse. Is amana. Your in-laws trusted you with their child. That could be someone's daughter or somebody's son, both sides. You have an amana with you. You heard how many times we heard the musibah of Fatima to Zahra Salamullah alayha when Imam Ali alayhi salam was burying the body of Fatima. You have in one of the narratives said, Ya Rasulullah, forgive me that I'm returning your amana with all these injuries, which he was not responsible for. That's the amana mentality. That was the amana with me. You don't feel that you're in possession, you're owning, no, in control, no. It's an amana. You're protecting it. You protect your husband, you protect your wife. Your children are your amana. Amana is not just, okay, please hold on to this ring and give it back to me a month. That's one very basic form of amana. But as I said, it could be our family, it could be our spouse, our children, they're amana, that we have to preserve them, protect them. Shall I leave the rest for tomorrow night? I will inshallah talk about the rest also tomorrow night. And tonight is the night of Ashura, and tonight inshallah we will be able to finish and complete this discussion. So in summary, and we talk about Surah Al-Ma'arij, we talk about those who are in Jannat al-Mukramun, they return to Allah, they will be honored, they will be respected, there's no fear for them. They will have that tranquility and peace of mind in the Day of Judgment. The qualities Quran mentioned they must have. Who are they? The one who establish prayers, the one who give charity, the one who affirm their belief in Day of Judgment. They believe and they show it in their life that they believe in Day of Judgment. Those who are aware and they are protecting the relationship with the halal and they're staying away from a haram relationship. They're guarding their private parts. And in other words, they control the lust, shahwa. They're in charge of it. Shahwa doesn't control them. Shahwa and lust doesn't dictate their decisions. And the last one I mentioned was those who return people's amana fully. They don't betray people's trust. And these qualities, all of them are evident in the life of Sayyid al-Shuhada and the companions of Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam. We have that in the night of Ashura. And this is, by the way, in Tariq al-Tabari and also Manaqib Shahr Ashub. So that's the source of this Maqtal and narrative. That the night of Ashura, a few companions came to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and Imam asked him, if you need something, why you came to me, what's the reason, what's the request? And some of them said, Ya ibn Rasulullah, you know what's happening right now. You see how enemy is forming. And we wanted to tell you that when we came with you, we didn't know that we're going to face an enemy. We thought we were going to go to Kufa. But now that we see death is in front of us, we have some debt that we have to settle. We have some problems, family problems that we have to resolve. If you give us permission, we go and we resolve those issues and we will come back. When they said this, Imam al-Islam said, I give you ijazah. I remove my allegiance and bay'ah from you. You can go. The path of Hussein is a path of choice. No compulsion in the path of Hussein, because that's the path of Rasulullah. So we have that Imam alayhi salam came to all the companions. He asked them to gather. And he told them that these people that you see in front of me, they have nothing to do with you. They're looking for me. All they want is me. And if you leave tonight, they will not chase you. They will not come after you. Take the hand of one of my family and leave. Go back to your families. If you're here because you feel that you're forced to stay because of your bay'ah with me, I forgave. I removed the bay'ah. Leave. And imagine who's the first one who answers. Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam, the Maqtal said, is the first one who answers. Said, Ya Abu Abdullah, you're telling us to go where we have to go. Where we have to go. If we go, how we will look at the face of Rasulullah? How we will be able to look at the face of Fatima? How we will be able to live after you? Let's say a salam to Abu Abdullah and Hussein. It's a very important statement that we say, Ya laytana kunna ma'ak fanafuza fawzan azima. We wish that we could have been with you. But imagine tonight is the night and Imam alayhi salam is asking us to join him. Do we have any excuse to leave? Do we have a lot of attachment to attend to? Family, dunya, business. Or no, like Abu al-Fadl Abbas, like Muslim ibn Awsaja, like Habib ibn Madahir. We say that if we have Hussein, we have everything. And if we don't have Hussein, we have nothing. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah wa ala al-arwah allati حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. Everyone. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى. One more time on behalf of all those who, due to sickness, illness, disability, they were not able to participate in such majalis, but they wish, their heart is with us, but they didn't have the chance. One more time on the behalf of all of them. Assalamu ala al-Husayn wa ala Ali ibn al-Husayn wa ala awlad al-Husayn wa ala ashab in such a night that we have that Abu Abdullah ordered to lower the light, that there is absolute darkness, that nobody is embarrassed, nobody is ashamed to leave Hussein alayhi salam, that if somebody wants to stay is because they decided and they want to stay. The second that after Abu al-Fadl Abbas stood up and talked were the children of Zainab. They stood up and said, Ya Abu Abdullah, you're asking us to leave if you want to. But we wanted to be with you from the beginning, and it doesn't matter how many enemies we're facing. We made a promise and we made the ahd with you, and we will stay on that promise until the end. But there's the one that is very famous. A statement was made by Zuhair ibn Qayn. Zuhair was Uthmani madhab. It means that in the dispute between Imam Ali salam and Talha and Zubair, he took the other side. He took the Talha and Zubair's side in the battle of Jamal. But see how Hussein alayhi salam transforms people. We have that he performed Hajj, and after he was returning, in one of the stations, one of the manazil, he set up his tent close to the Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam's tents. And Imam sent a messenger. Said, Zuhair, come. Abu Abdullah asked for you. He wants to talk to you. He wants to talk to you. And he knew what's happening. He saw the army is forming against Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And he said, tell Hussein that I have so much respect for him, but please leave me out of this. Some of the reports said that his wife Daylam told Zuhair, Zuhair, you call yourself a Muslim? You call yourself a man? The only grandson of the Prophet, the child of Fatima and Ali ibn Abi Talib asked for you. What's going to happen? What's the worst that could happen? You would go and you listen to him and you will say no. But don't reject his invitation. He invited you, go and answer. Sometimes see how a wife or a husband could be a reason for the khair of someone, for their family. He took the advice of his wife and he went. In history, there is no report that what happened, what Hussein alayhi salam said to Zuhair. It was private. But all we need to know is that when Zuhair came back, he was not the same Zuhair anymore. He told his wife, Daylam, let's ready. We're going to move to the camp of Hussein. Ya Abu Abdullah, in such a night, I know I'm talking about myself. And I wasn't a good mu'min, I wasn't a good Shia. But tonight I want to move myself and come close to you. That if I deviated, if I left, tonight is the night I want to come back. And your door is open, I know that. Ya rahmatallahi al-wasi'a wa ya baba najat al-ummah. Be the wasita, be the shafi'ah for me. Zuhair on the night of Ashura, he's the one who stood up and said, Ya Abu Abdullah, you ask us to leave you. I swear to Allah, if they kill me and cut me to pieces and they burn me and the wind scatter my ashes and God recreates me, and this happened hundreds of times, I will not leave your side, Hussein. This is the answer of Zuhair. That's the reason Sayyid al-Shuhada, after there were those who left, by the way. Not everyone is Zuhair, not everyone is Habib, not everyone is Abbas. Those who wanted to leave, they left. And those who remained, that we know their names, and we do the ziyarah for them as well. Sayyid al-Shuhada looked at them and said, there is no companions like you in the world. There never been anyone in the past, and there will never come in the future. Don't take the name of Ahlul Bayt and name of the companions of Sayyid al-Shuhada lightly. But my musibah will be this. Imam Zain al-Abidin is the one who narrates. So on the night of Ashura, I was in the tent and my aunt Zainab was with me, taking care of me. And I saw from the tent that my father Hussein alayhi salam, what is his tent. And the servant of Abu Dharr al-Ghifari was with him. And he was helping my dad to sharpen his sword for tomorrow. But as he was sharpening his sword, he was reciting these poetries. Ya dahru uffin laka fi khalili. O dunya, woe upon you that what you do with your best friends. That there is no different for you that is a friend or enemy. That all is waiting for you is departure of this dunya, and all is in front of us is a departure. And when I heard that poetry of my father Hussein, I know that the musibah is coming. I understood that this is the last night of the life of my father Hussein. But the moment my aunt Zainab heard this, she left the tent, and as she was dragging her dress on the ground, she approached Abu Abdullah Hussein and said, my dear brother, tell me, what are you reciting? You're reciting like somebody who has no hope for life. Tell me what's coming. And Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam said, my sister Zainab, don't let shaitan take away your patience and sabr. Be patient, that indeed Allah is with the patient. And the moment my father said this, my aunt Zainab started weeping and crying, because now she's sure that what's coming is nothing but the departure and death and shahada for Hussein alayhi salam. And we have the moment she heard that, she fainted for a few seconds. Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam hold the body of his sister Zainab. When she gained her consciousness back, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam said, my sister Zainab, my advice to you is that in front of the enemy, after my shahada, I don't want you to show weakness. My sister Zainab, I don't want the enemy to see that you are tearing apart your clothing. Remember, inna Allah ma'as sabirin. Be patient, my sister Zainab. Ya Abu Abdullah, how you know what's the tragedy of the day of Ashura is? In such a night, you spend the entire night in recitation of Quran, in prayers, in istighfar, in supplication. But when the day of Ashura came, the last moment, still what was on the lips of Hussein was supplication. The moment he hit the ground, the moment he created a pillow out of the dirt and the soil of the land of Karbala, this is what Hussein alayhi salam said, Ilahi ridan biridak, tasliman liqada'ik, la ma'buda siwak. Ya Allah, I'm satisfied with your plan for Hussein. I'm content with your plan for Hussein. There is no creator, there is no Allah but you. That is the moment how enemy answered the call of Hussein. Again, we have in Maqtal, they say that Hussein alayhi salam asked for water from the enemy. So one of the enemies said, this is the last moment of the life of Hussein. Let us give him some water. As he brought some water for Hussein alayhi salam, an arrow placed on the lips of Hussein alayhi salam. And as he started bleeding, all the enemy says, all we heard from Hussein was tasbih. All Hussein was saying was Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, Bismillah, wa billah, wa ala millati Rasulillah. This is the last word on the lips of Hussein. But when Zainab came to the Qatligah, when she came, there is no lips of Hussein visible. She's looking for the body of Hussein. But you have to have a head to be recognized. At least you must have an armor, some clothing on to be recognized. But the bodies on that place had no head and had no clothing. The only sign for the body of Hussein was the old shirt that Hussein wore before the battle. And when Zainab reached that body, the enemy said that we saw Zainab placed her lips on the cotton wound of Hussein alayhi salam, and she's reciting wa Muhammada wa Aliya hadha Husainuka murammalun bid-dima muqatta'ul a'dha wa ala la'natullahi ala al-qawmi adh-dhalimin wa sayalamu alladhina zalamu أي منقلب ينقلبون. Every hajat, every need, every request you have, please have it in your heart and mind. But first, and make sure this is your first request from Allah, is ta'ajil al-faraj, is hastening the return of Imam of our time. Let's call Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam to be shafi of all of us, inshallah, in dunya and akhirah. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله يا حسين بن علي أيها الشهيد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. Everyone, يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا. Everybody stand up for the respect of Imam. يا وجيها اشفع لنا. One more time. يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا. Let's recite ayah amma yujib, not just for the marid and also for all the madhlumeen, all the innocent who are in prison only because of the love of Ahlul Bayt, in Nigeria, in Bahrain, in Saudi Arabia, anywhere in the world that we see the madhlumeen, that they are suffering. Non-Muslims, Muslims, but especially for the followers of Ahlul Bayt, who are paying the price of their love for Hussein alayhi salam. Let's recite inshallah amma yujib for the relief from all these distress and difficulties, for all the mu'mineen, especially, as I said, for those who are suffering in prison, they're innocent, who are suffering from difficulty in practicing their faith in Pakistan and Afghanistan. We see that every week, unfortunately, once in a month, sometimes every week, we hear the news that a Shia mosque was unfortunately attacked, or an innocent child who were attacked because of their love of Ahlul Bayt. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punish all those who are responsible for this, those who are encouraging this, those who invest in such mentality, those who stay quiet and do nothing about it in the name of being allies. May Allah inshallah punish them in a worthy punishment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised. Let's recite ayah amma yujib for all of them, and also remember the marid, all those who requested dua. A'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajim. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات ولشفاء مرضانا ولتعجيل الفرج مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان. As you inshallah organize your lines for Latmiya, please recite Surah Fatiha with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.